I just want to do an update on things since the last installment. This is a Webcore Royal Light. Passed by a barn sale again, and this thing was literally outside on the ground, just on the damp, just on the ground. I couldn't believe it myself. I don't need a reel-to-reel. It's just have a soft spot, I guess, for Webcore reel-to-reels. The cover's missing. I noticed the eye tube, 6E5 or whatnot. You can look it up, the Webcore Royal Light. It's from 1959, and it's in overall pretty good condition other than being outside. Some markings crossed out on it. So yeah, I think we didn't pay much for that. Maybe $5 for that. And it probably runs. It needs a recap. This came in the mail. This is for one of the sets we've compiled. There's a big RCA FM radio Type 1 changer, so like 1949, big cabinet, dual record players, but it does have the 45J, the early model, the Type 1 changer, and it had been retrofitted to a 20 HP4, which was necked, or the cap was hid in the back, and it has no filament. So they had one of these at the early television early television museum, and so we picked it up, and it's a 20 HP4C, because that chassis has had all kinds of retrofitting done to accept this tube, and it's custom strapped in and circuit changes. And I pulled this cardboard out, and man, the dust, unbelievable, the dust that's just in the box. Anyway, we'll put that with the set. It arrived in good condition. That's a new old stock Sylvania 20 HP4. I'm not sure if you can read that, but that's the data sheet on the 20 HP4. Magnetic deflection. And ion trap. Okay. While out on the Firestone, I'll show you one other thing. Okay, on the Firestone from the other day, the blonde one there, I found on the chassis that says 21T35, and flipping through the SAMs, this was the closest one I could find. It says code 280-521T31, and it's similar enough to ours. I can't find the 5. What this covers a 21T33 and 31. Ours is a 35, but it's very, very physically similar looking. And it has a 21ALP4, it says, for the CRT. But it's basically the same chassis. So that's good there. That's the update on the Firestone. And I'll show you what we're working on at the present moment. This is nothing special. This is the antenna rotator for one of those. I think I paid $30. I've had a number of these little all-inclusive antenna rotor HDTV antennas you see on eBay. I bought one, and I think Zener diode shorted in it eventually, and the cable goes bad because it was just hair-thin cable. I have this one apart. I've torn into it because I came home and I just wanted to rotate the antenna. It stopped working. It stopped working. Okay, here's the remote for it, which I seldom use because it has a button on top. You see, if you press it, it gives you the direction or the remote. And what it was doing, I was pressing the button. I didn't notice how dim the LED was when I was pressing the button, but I'm pressing the button, and I wasn't even getting local stations. Was having trouble receiving signal, and the remote wasn't working. So I dug into the box, checked a few diodes and whatnot, nothing wrong there. But I noticed when I attached the antenna lead, because this sends power up the antenna lead, not only does signal come out of it, it sends power up to turn the motor on the antenna. And after putting some new batteries in the remote, it didn't help. So But with the antenna disconnected, the remote functioned. With it attached, it didn't. But I could hit the button. Anyway, no signal, wasn't working. So I knew the problem was with the antenna. And I have it indoors up in the attic. I would never trust one of these on the roof. I have an more elaborate channel master, full pull system and a wine guard antenna, but I just haven't gotten up to putting that up yet. For now, this serves me fine and it's worked well. So here we are on the, this is the antenna, has a little, I think a DC motor in it, as far as I can tell, and because it's bi-directional. And this wire was out here, out of the rubber grommet. The wire was frayed. This is for the signal, and this is for the motor. And the center conductor of the signal wire was it was cracked. It's shorting out. It's nice to see that I can use standard cable wire here if I want to. This one was built a little better, and again, I've had no problems with it up till just tonight. So yeah, after removing the short here, or making sure the center isn't touching the shield, I can attach the antenna, and the motor. The motor begins to work. You hit the remote and the motor turns. So we're back in business with this. So that's what I'm repairing at the moment. Another unwelcomed repair, but I want to watch television. Okay, I'm gonna have to look around for some small coax cable. It's thinner than the normal cable, and for tonight I'll just put it back on, reassemble it. I'll just set it and forget it, and won't rotor it that much. Just aim it to what I want and leave it until I can make some permanent repair. Okay, so if I take the remote now and aim it at the controller, it rotates. I'll just set it where I need to for now, and look for some cable to make the permanent repair. This jacket is just so brittle, and this is indoors. This has never seen outside, so these don't last very long, but they're good for testing and whatnot. I wouldn't put it on the external elements or whatnot. They're fine for attic or whatnot, and they work pretty well. They have an amplifier and a rotor, which you need for the the digital signals. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's the update. I'll close out with we're working on here is Mr. RC. This is the RC spray color, which I have not even. I believe it's a CTC 15, which I haven't even plugged in yet to see what it does. But we'll get to that in a later video. Again, thanks for watching, and I'm going to watch some television. Okay, there we are, and we already have signal downstairs, so I'll call that a wrap.
Christmas bonus, don't you? Why don't you never wait for me to tell you nothing?
Okay, and the last thing I noticed is when I was trying to adjust the antenna using the button, like that, this transformer was so hot you could smell it. It was really, really overheated. So, process of elimination. Now see, I've adjusted it so I lost the signal. I should have left it where it was. Okay, so it's working. Thanks for watching.
I figured that when you sent that shipment.
Okay, moving on, just doing some inventory here. I've gone through that box of radio spares from the other day. This here, again, this has a 6H6. There's a couple of these I'll show you. This is just, I forget what these clips are called. They have a name. That's some part of a, that's the front end of a radio, the oscillator again. Similar to this one here, which has on-off switch, variable capacitor. The mixer is missing. I don't know what tube that may have been. The headphones are Fillmore. Maybe this is a Fillmore kit. You have the variable capacitor for the antenna, which I just wrapped around the tube. This is a 35Z5 rectifier. Oscillator and the headphones go in there. Again, it's not. It doesn't appear to be too damaged. Just a tube is absent. This one here is the Heathkit. Again, it's tubed. Let me get some focus. This is a Heathkit model RR3 BR-2 model BR-2. Transformer set, fairly complete. Found the grill cloth here, no cabinet. And it does have a phonograph input. It appears to have a radio phonograph switch. So this is somewhere in the mid-50s, I would say. Early, maybe 53-ish. I don't know. I'll do some research on that. It appears to be completely built. And there will be documentation on this, so there's no reason why that can't be put into use or service. This, I'm guessing, it's a the chassis is stamped which tubes are what, but this is just a carcass. But it does have a some chew marks on the wax capacitors there. And of course there's documentation here on that chassis of 501 APH. I'd like to say Zenith. I can't. Could be anything. Again, with the diagram, if you wanted to, I'm sure you could get this one to run again. Also, variable capacitor or something. This radio, the busted up radio, is an Emerson. And I think that's about it. The phono drive here, which is still functions pretty. Give it a spin and the motor turns. It's I'd say it's usable. And one other phono drive here. And this I didn't see this radio here, but this is the bezel, the aluminum Panasonic. It'll be a multi-band radio from the late 60s. It has the old, well, it does say Panasonic, not National there, so it's got the N. So there you have it. That's the radio box of piece parts. And this is just documentation, so even I may go back to review the videos at a later date. This is the RCA combination that the 20HP4 is for. It's a model TA-169, and it originally did not come with a 21-inch tube. It's been retrofitted, and that tube has no filament. It was hit right here. It's dented. The cap was missing. I've reattached that. What I like, it has the 45 player here and the 3378 player down below. I can spin it around. I can spin it around for a look. Or see, the doors are closed. It was pretty manhandled. This veneer was all off, and I glued the veneer back down. There's a little chunk there. This thing really probably took the hit right here, which took the tube out. These people just don't know how to move these things without damaging them. The rest of it's really in beautiful shape. It's a big, obnoxious thing, but it's fairly nice. Whoever had it, I'd spin it out for you. But the doors, the hardware, the cloth, everything is really, really good shape. And again, it's got the television there. It has, I'd said FM, it has AM, I believe AM at the bottom, but it's all inclusive. The radio TV chassis is one, and someone retrofitted the bezel around the screen to accept that 20-inch tube. while we're on the subject, I don't know if you recall on the CRT television Facebook page, there was a woman a few months back. She was using a television for a prop and wanted to know if anyone wanted the guts. It was a low hour set or whatnot. And yeah, we got the chassis and the CRT from that. And this is a KCS-121 chassis. The tuner was cut, and it was just, it's a shame it was sacrificed, but we did grab the got the yoke and the tube and down at the other end. So the 20 HP4 is coupled with the set. We've gone ahead and just wiped up the web core a little bit. We'll put this away for now. Okay, I'm just going to have a look again at the back of this Firestone and show you where I got the model chassis number 21T35. I'm not sure if that's a date code, and I'm not sure of that, but this is virtually identical to the 31 and 33 outlined in that Sam's. There's been a capacitor change here. There's nothing missing here that I can see. Tuner and the controls are up and they all clustered together there. I did happen to just research the flyback a little bit. This is cracked right here, and just that making me nervous. I was able to find a flyback on eBay, so I ordered a flyback for this, and we'll set it right in here for now. And I'm also going to, what I like about this set is it has the Danish modern, whatever you want to call it, furniture legs here. I'm going to go to, I think, Lowe's and get some wooden 24-inch legs for it. I'm going to have it propped up on legs. I want to get this inside as soon as we can find a spot for it. And this is just some kind of tar on here. It looks worse than it is. But they've gone ahead and sprayed the inside of this with some kind of tar substance. Probably smells really good when it's running. Okay, and just moving on, we'll finish up with this. I saw this advertised and just had to have it. It's in the 1967 RCA brochure. It's the Sienna. It's a one-owner set. It's a little upsetting because the truck is broke down. It has a fuel pump problem, intermittent, so we're having that changed out. I was careful about the pulls here. One was missing, I guess. I pulled over off the highway and I noticed two of them were loose, so I gathered them. That's fine. The door was present at that time, but I got home and looked the next morning. I probably should have taped it there. You could see there were remnants of it being taped here, and it was solid. I should have known better than to. The door is gone. Hopefully we have a replacement on the way. That's the back. It's a CTC-25. The model tag is missing, but again the brochure verifies, and it's also stamped. It's the GH676W for walnut. It's a non-remote set. I haven't tested the CRT. Owner says last time they powered it up in the 90s, it did produce a picture. A dim one, they said, but it produced a picture. So this appears to be a rebuilt CRT. It just doesn't look factory RCA to me. And the bezel in the front has a little gap, which tells me someone's changed it out. In any event, I'm not opening the flyback cover, but I did. There's no drip on the flyback. There's no drippage, and we've got to get this inside. It's been out in the garage here where it's damp, and I'm just letting the sun get at it to dry it out a little bit. We'll get this inside again. That's the CTC-25. The Sienna from 1967. A little dismayed that we lost the control door. That should have known a little better about that, but what can you do? This stuff always happens. I was smart enough to retain the pulls, but this one got me a little. Alright, let's stop there. Thanks for watching. Okay, I guess one last thing on the CTC-25. I'm going to set it right next to this one, work in progress. We have a new ECG Sylvania CRT in this one. We haven't finished up yet. But the door, again, on this one broke when we were moving it. So I have two CTC-25s with the color door issues, and I don't see how that thing, the pin and it sheared right off. I mean, I pull this and that won't come out, and yet on the other one, the whole thing just came out. Just the Achilles heel of the CTC 25 models, the door. Okay, that'll do it for now. Thanks for watching. Back on the RCA, one last thing. We were just tilting it in, had no help, so it's always risky when you tilt on these legs, but the leg didn't break off. It just slid out of its... These were pre-manufactured, just slid into here like that over there, and I've just... First time using Gorilla Glue. I just as soon use the Elmer's glue, but they slid it down like a dado, and then drove a couple pin nails in from behind. And I remember the owner saying something about the leg, and I thought he was referring to one of the buttons. And the nail, if I still have it, the nail I had to pull out because I could not get it to... It was one of these here. I couldn't get it to fit quite back, so it's one less nail. But they drove a nail in, one nail in from there. But we have all the pieces, and it's been gluing a couple hours. Clamping should be fine. It's just this thing. It's just been so damp that it must have just. It was just like mush. When I tilted it in, it just let go. But it'll be good, and maybe we'll test the CRT in an upcoming video. Again, thanks for watching. Oh, and the label on the back was falling off. I glued it the best I could here, so it's at least all intact. It's already been taped. But, and I put the cover back on the tuner over there. Okay, we may like the wood stove to get some of the dampness out of this, because it's been outside in the garage for a couple days, so it is humid. It's been humid, so maybe we'll leave it like this and just have a nice dry fire and let it soak up some of the warmth. Okay, I've gone and put the pulls back on, and again, I don't know if I'm in love with this Gorilla Glue. I didn't think it would leave that much of evidence, whereas the Elmer's would just be clear and you wouldn't see it, but I say it didn't tear out of there or ruin the wood or anything. I suppose we could just take a walnut pen or something and just touch that up. But okay, well, we have the CRT checker out, so I tightened the chassis because the chassis was a little loose, and this has had quite a trip. There's a ground wire going up to the CRT. There's other things that tell me that this has been changed. So without further ado, like this antenna stuff here. Let's fire it up. Tonight we're going to use the B&K 467 to test this. So I already got socket 3 on there. And we'll go to 6.3 and we'll come back and set it up here and see what we do. G1 at 50. Line voltage just under 120. The tube is lit. Come back in a minute. It's only been about a minute, but let's go and see if we can set the cutoff on each gun. And we can set red. sunset blue, or green that is. And oh, we got plenty of blue also. Okay, let's go for the test. Okay, wow. That's pretty good. Not sure how to use these, the tracking and life. I'm familiar with life. We'll push the life down. Tracking, I'll hit tracking, set tracking. Well, they all track about the same. Okay. It's a good tube. When I found this roll pin, I'm going to put the back on. I found this roll pin in there, and I'm not certain, but I do believe this may be the roll pin that holds the door on, and that may explain why the door went flying off. I believe this wing nut, this belongs to the yoke, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the wing nut is that I'm talking about. And if you look under here, that's where that wing nut is supposed to go. That one's got him. He has a 1/4 inch in there. I found this in there too, so that does go with that. So that and the roll pin must be why the door is missing. I don't know where this screw goes. We'll find out eventually, I'm sure.